energy poverty is really linked to three things. So first of all, I suppose when the homes is not energy efficient. Secondly, it's linked as well to the income of the household, so having a low income, and to the price of energy. So if you look at the data, there are a number of groups across communities in the country that are more affected by energy poverty. Typically, you would have a lot of energy poverty in rural area, but also where you may have larger, older homes, but also you would have many people affected by energy poverty would be among single parents, elderly people, younger generation, and also people in the private rental market.
A lack of access is a key factor to all of aspects to energy poverty. A lot of people have either access to the social networks are missing, or the access to finances, obviously, is a key thing. But it's also the social supports that a lot of the time they're missing when you talk to people in energy poverty. It's linked to other kind of difficulties that they face in their lives.
I think the financial aspect is a very big one. A lot of people in energy poverty that are just below the threshold for the full energy upgrade grants can't actually afford to upgrade their home through other means. I think also there's a lack of accessibility for people in vulnerable communities and in energy poverty. Further to that, I think there's a lack of knowledge of available schemes and where to access this and how to go about them.
Well, there are many tools to address the affordability of energy tool, but what we see as a priority as the Irish Green Building Council is to make the homes more energy efficient. Obviously, in the short term, it does make sense to support people's income so that they can afford energy to heat their home. But in the long term, it should really be about making all these are more energy efficient as a first step, because that way you actually addressing the underlying cause of the problem. But in addition to energy efficiency, it's important as well to support the production of renewable energy, because what the data show is that for people, the poorest part of society, energy efficiency on its own won't be sufficient to bring them out of fuel poverty.
I think in terms of policy, it's decoupling the idea or the mindset that energy is a commodity and it needs to be purchased. That there should be also a kind of a right to energy. That dimension should be introduced, especially for those in lower cohorts of society who do not have access to the same levels of funds that others have.
I suppose financial incentives as well. You look at the fuel allowance. To help people afford their energy bills, as well as different tariffs that are available. I think there needs to be better financial incentives for people to upgrade the energy efficiency of their homes.
Well, there are a number of things that can be done. Just to take some example, I think we could be better at targeting people that are the most vulnerable to energy poverty. So one way to do that could be to have a very good GIS mapping across the country of areas that are at risk of energy poverty, and then specifically target this area. But I think there it's very important that we use the right messengers. So I think there it could be important to have local energy renovation advisors that would work with anti-poverty group or people dealing with elderly people, with single parents, so that we can better target people that are at risk of energy poverty, and to support them along the renovation journey, because we know that energy renovation is complicated. So you need support, with the funding application, but also through the journey, so that we can better explain the process. In terms of funding as well, I think there are things that could be done to make it more affordable. Obviously, we have the free energy upgrade program that is available through SCAI, but what the research shows is that there are many people in energy poverty that won't be eligible for this scheme. For instance, people in the private rental market, or people like what we could say like the working poor, so people that are just above the threshold but clearly cannot afford a deep retrofit. So I think it's a combination of policies that are required.
Energy poverty obviously is a complex problem, but in the case of where you have an asset-rich but energy-poor household, for example, who own their own home but cannot afford to upgrade, the grants should take that into consideration and maybe should be linked to the actual the earning power of the household themselves. So if they cannot earn enough to afford to do the upgrades themselves, government should support.
Definitely need to target the people in energy poverty more. Make sure, like I said, they know they're aware of the available schemes out there and they can access it easy enough. Also, for different grants out there, it needs to be cheaper. A lot of people in energy poverty, their first instinct isn't to upgrade their home through energy renovation. They have other concerns as well. So they need to get rid of that financial barrier and ensure that people have access to it and can afford to upgrade their homes.
It's fantastic that we have all these very ambitious targets at national and European level in relation to decarbonization of the built environment, but we need to bring everyone on board. So the concept of just transition is absolutely critical there, and I think a key part of that is really, I think, for instance, if we think of energy renovation program, it's absolutely critical to ensure that these programs are co-designed, not only with anti-poverty groups, with the renovation industry, but also with people directly experiencing energy poverty on a day-to-day basis.
I think in terms of environment, an improved quality of life will lead to better environmental outcomes. So when we link benefits, improvements to the environment to the quality of life of people, you will see huge benefits then. For example, in terms of air pollution at the moment, the link to fossil fuels and air pollution is kind of it's established, we all understand. But when we see the benefits of moving to more environmentally friendly systems, that also improve our quality of life, that will have a knock-on benefit to the environment as well.
I think for this, they need to ensure to engage stakeholders in the process, engage those in energy poverty in the decision-making of policies, ensure that different programs are developed with the right resources and with the right other communities that are aware of these issues.
There are a number of challenges. I think energy poverty is a complex issue. So I think we have made progress in recent years. For instance, like the criteria for the SEAI free energy upgrades program were reviewed about 2 years ago, but it's clearly insufficient. So what I think is important for all these policies, beside like co-designing them with groups at risk of energy poverty, is to make sure that they are reviewed on a regular basis so that we can adjust them as soon as issues are identified. And also it will be key, I still think, at this stage to test a few different ideas. Like we have a number of recommendations on our report, but this needs to be tested at scale.
Unfortunately, governments and government departments tend to work in silos sometimes. So, and there is not always the communication across the different actors and stakeholders involved. And I think that needs to be, channels need to be created there where where policy in one from one dimension of government considers other factors as well. So that cross departmental communication, I think, is important.
Again, bringing up again the financial side, to have the finances there from the government to make these different policies and programs available. Also, it was briefly mentioned the lack of skilled workforce. The lack of skilled workforce to be able to renovate homes and put in these energy efficiency slows down the process and creates these long waiting lists, which makes it difficult for people to access these programs.
Well, there are a number of recommendations that I think we are making in terms of to better address energy poverty in Ireland. So one of them is clearly, I think, to better target people that are at risk of fuel poverty. So through the GIS mapping exercise, through having local energy renovation advisors that can actually identify people at risk of fuel poverty and support them through their journey. Then in relation to funding, I think it's fantastic that the level of funding has increased in recent years for energy renovation, but it will be important as well when we talk about a just transition to first of all look at the criteria for the free energy upgrade, but also perhaps to look at alternative funding mechanism, a sliding scale in terms of the level of funding we provide to various type of household in Ireland, just to make sure that we leave no one behind and actually everyone is supported in the renovation journey. My last point is also in relation, at the moment we have you have individual energy renovation measures as well that are funded, which is fine, but I think if we do support single measures, it's important that they are done in the right order. So I think one change would be to make sure that when people go for grant for single measures, that they also have a building renovation passport so that they can identify the measures that are needed in which order to ultimately have an highly energy efficient, comfortable home.
I think the right to energy should be considered, and I think it should be linked to a means as well. So not necessarily that you have unlimited right to energy, but that you do have a threshold. So something similar to a living wage, where you have a kind of a living energy quota that you can use in order to sustain your kind of a comfortable quality of life.
I think the introduction of an energy renovation passport could allow people to upgrade their homes in steps rather than doing a deep retrofit, which many people can't afford. Introduction of a renovation passport can allow people to do these steps while still progressing towards the final end product of a full deep renovation.